Hi, I'm John, founder of Papa Collectibles. Over the past 2.5 years, I've been running this business as a side hustle, with over 10,000 sales on TCG Player and another few hundred on eBay. Recently, I've decided to take the business to the next level. This series is a video diary of sorts, showing my struggles along that path, while also sharing some lessons I've learned along the way. Let's start with my monthly update. In the last video, I told you I was going to buy a case of Duskmorn, so I did. And over the course of a long work day, where I was watching a lot of videos, I got the entire thing broken down, sorted, and listed onto TCG Player. And boy, did that go fast. Literally within the weekend, maybe a couple extra days, I had sold most of the cards that were worth value. The problem is, I sold them on TCG Player Direct. So, my reimbursement invoice came February 4th, but I didn't get the paycheck for them until today. So that's something to keep in mind too, is there is a bit of a lag time between when you make the sale and when they say, okay, here's your money now. But now that I've got that money, I can start planning my next purchase. I just need to complete a few more sales before I can buy my next case, which is going to be another standard set that's understocked in my store. Not sure yet if I'm going to go forward with something like Lorwyn or backward with Ixalan, but I will be buying a case of something I don't have a lot in stock, and we're going to keep this value train coming. The great news is I've already made my money back from that case, so now I can kind of roll that into a new case while still having thousands of cards of commons and uncommons that people can buy from me. In fact, we're going to get into one of those later in the video. Another venture that I'm trying out is buying bulk from my LGS. If you buy bulk online through eBay, Facebook Marketplace, you're going to have to outbid people with some deep pockets. So if you've got a local game store, chances are they've got more cards than they know what to do with. My local game store is a little bit higher than I'd like on the cost of their bulk, but considering I know that they don't have a sorting machine, and I know that besides hand picking, there's no way these cards were touched, I feel pretty confident I can make the money back. What do I do with that bulk to make more money? Let me show you. Last episode, I talked about leaning into your advantages, and one of mine is the hobby of cubing, the act of building a custom draft environment that you can draft with up to 8 people. It's something that I enjoy just personally myself, so it made sense to make a product around it. As you can see, I've got a 360 card cube sitting in this BCW box. The box itself costs like $10. These cards you're getting for about a penny a piece or less if you're really good. But I'm selling this for about $70. It's something that does sell on occasion, and in the meantime, I've got other things I can do with the bulk. Another product that I've created is something that comes basically from one of my favorite content creators. Loading Ready Run. They do this challenge where they take a dollar store repack and basically crack them open and play with them. I've always thought that sounded fun myself, but there are some limitations to their repacks. They've got some really bad cards in them. So one night, I figured out that I could kind of curate what the packs look like and sell them too. Again, I'm getting each of these cards for under a cent a piece, and I'm selling these for about $5 on my store. I wasn't even going to bring these up, except that recently I made my first sale with them. So I've already got $15 out of what was a $50 purchase at the time. Not too shabby considering I've got another 52 to sell. So I've made cubes that'll sell for $70-$80, and I've made card packs that'll sell for about $5 a piece. But those are selling slowly. So how do I get the money back so quickly? Well, I take the cards that don't fit into the cubes and don't fit into the card packs, and I bulk them out. This is a USPS priority mail flat rate box, which means that you spend an exact amount of money on it no matter what's inside. So I fill it to the brim with cardboard. there are 2 rows of this. So there's 6 total rows of cards. And it's, fairly heavy, 14, 15 pounds. And I throw it on eBay. I'm completely honest in the listing. If this video goes out this week, I'll actually list this exact one down below. If not, you kind of get the idea. It says, hey, this is bulk cards, has not been machine sorted, but I have taken out some good cards out of it, so do with this what you will. And I list them on eBay auctions. Even with all those caveats, people are excited for this kind of stuff. So I generally can make 40 or 50 bucks right away. And the great thing about eBay auctions is they have a specific end date that you are getting paid by. I put this one on a 5-day auction, so I listed it on Monday, and I'll have the money in my account Sunday, which will be just in time for me to start the process all over again at my LGS. Buy a box, break it down, put it in a box, ship it out. All the while, I'm getting most of the money I spent back right away, and the rest of it will come in these ancillary products that I'm getting a ton of extra money. Even if I only sell 1 cube, that's more than a case of that bulk cost me to begin with. So maybe you're looking to get started in the card business, and one of the first things you wonder is how to package. If you look here on YouTube, there are tons of guides all saying basically the same thing. Take the invoice, pack your card, put it in a number 9 envelope, and ship it out. Well, if that works for you, great. I'm happy for you. But for some of us, we have to deal with post office workers that think that they're saving the entire system by nickel and diming the people who are using it. And I have one of those too. I would get dozens and dozens of orders coming back to me every week, where I would then have to pay extra postage while also having to take the time to message the people I was sending them to expect their package a little bit later because it got bounced. Well, that happens no more. And let me show you how. So first, I've got this Squirtle from Boundaries Crossed. It's sold on eBay for $2.49, and when I do eBay standard envelope, I don't even add shipping. So $2.49 was out of pocket for the customer, which means the lower I can get my costs, the more margin there is for me to grow my business. If I had to put this in a non-machinable, the cost of the postage, plus the non-machinable tag, plus all of the protection for the card, would mean I'd be barely breaking even, if at all. So, here's the new method. You don't need a label printer for what I'm about to show you, but it actually helps the workflow so much. I absolutely recommend finding yourself whatever label printer you find online. I'm not going to be the guy making recommendations. But find yourself a label printer, get things printed. So the first thing I do is I put the card in a team bag. You'll notice there's no other protection for this card, just the team bag. That's going to be important because we're trying to keep the rigidity down while putting the protection as high as we can. The next thing I do is I print out the invoice on that label maker printer, and I stick it to a greeting card style letter. So you can get these blank greeting cards by like the 100 on Amazon. I'm still looking for a way to get more of them at a cheaper price, but either way, they're not super expensive. And I wrote like I said, I stuck the invoice to the inside. Okay. Now the next step is to take the card, put it right here in the middle, and with a little bit of tape it in place. That's it. Close it up. You put it in the envelope it comes with, and obviously get the self-seal. And there you go. So as this is an eBay standard envelope, I'm going to put the label for the envelope on this side. It just makes the package a little bit more secure when nobody but the recipient can get inside of it. I'm going to put that sticker on this side, off camera, just so I don't have to bleep out a bunch of stuff. But it'll have, the return address. It'll have the code that gets scanned in the machines. It'll have the address down here. Perfect. If you're not on eBay but on TCG Player, you can do a very similar thing. And I'm going to show you how with this Arabella. So this is another one of those cards that I sold for 40 cents. So 40 cents plus the $1.31 that TCG Player gives you as your shipping guide is $1.71, even less than that Squirtle. So the margins are really, really tight. Then I take an envelope, which I've already stamped with my return address on it. If you get a cheap enough stamp from Amazon, they're like 15, 20 bucks, whatever. And it will save you so much time and ink, because the ink replacements for those are super cheap. Anyway, so I take these envelopes and I put my stamp on it right here. You take the postage stamp and you put that right there. And then here is where I've printed out a label from my label printer that I'm going to stick right there. So I'm not going to show you this person's address, but basically just tape it up and stick it right on. So there you have it. 2 different ways to get 1 to 4 cards mailed with no issues. If you go over 4, it starts getting a little sketchy because they check weights on things as well. But the cardboard of the greeting card actually does a pretty decent protection, especially on these cheaper cards that it feels a little excessive to be putting into, say, a hard case. So, until next time, keep on grinding.